Peace, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to a crazy episode of Hindsight Radio, the information station changing the nation. It's crazy because not the situation surrounding this Darrell Brooks trial is tragic. Some people died, but what's crazy is his tactics in court. So, um, I'm going to go through some of the video. I've been watching this stuff for almost a week now, just watching, so I could share the content with you and show you these tactics that people are pulling in courtroom. They pretty much don't work. All right, just special appearance, um, the DBA, the accepted for value, which is a big thing that he's using in here. And what makes this worse is not the fact that people died here. People died in this, this is something that didn't have to happen. All right. He could have just simply stopped if he was on the wrong street. I don't know what the motive is behind what happened here, but in my mind, common sense says you see people on the road, you see an event going on, you do not drive that way. And if I'm just speculating, you to me, you purposely drove that way. And this is why the state is going after him and wanting to put him in jail for this. Rightfully so. I think just watching the days of the tactics he's been using and how he's been acting in the courtroom, I think something is wrong with the dude. And I think he deserves to be put away, period. But I'm going to show you. I'm gonna play this part here so y'all can hear it. Here it is.
Daisy and Zach Wachell appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Let me pause it. Let me go back just a little bit. Kind of hard. She's asking. This is they're opening up the court and to open the trial up to start, and they asking for appearance. And y'all know in this movement, they want to know, how do you introduce yourself in court? That's the big question, right? If anybody knows me, y'all know I don't endorse any of those things, those tactics. If you look at my paper, it doesn't use any of those tactics. I used those tactics once off the advice of somebody I work with, and I ran into a lot of problems. I said that would never happen again, and then I started to study the law, and realized what I needed to do just by reading the law. So if you read the rules, you know what to say, right? So let me start it here. Let me play it again so you can hear what he's saying. Make sure my computer is up here. But before I play it, you guys, those of you who are on, can you hear me? If I play it, I want y'all to get this full scope of this. Just let me know in the chat. They said they could hear great. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you. All right. Let's play it.
CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
County Judge Sue Upper, Leslie Daisy, and Zach Wachell appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Third-party intervener in that matter appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value in return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for the discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments and make a reservation of all my rights here this morning. All rights reserved.
All right, good morning to you as well.
Okay, he read classic moves that you hear people tell you to do in court. He accepted for value. He wanted discharge, meaning just for those of you who may be watching who don't understand what I'm saying, he wanted discharge using his social security number to discharge these crimes. For them to go into that secret account that they keep talking about and get the money and pay off the charges, right? That's what he's basically. Let me just repeat it. So let me go back. I'm going to repeat this again so we can be clear on what's being.
Darrell Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Judge Sue Upper, Leslie Basie, and Zach Witchell appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Third party intervener in that matter appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value in return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for the discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments and make a reservation of all my rights here.
Let me stop. He said he does not dispute any of the facts in the case. He just basically admitted to committing this crime. That's what he admitted. So I guess the state, they have to go through the process. He just inadvertently pleaded guilty. He said, I do not dispute any of the facts indicate, use my, whatever let's see. Let's go back.
Wisconsin versus Darrell Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Judge Sue Upper, Leslie Basie, and Zach Witchell appearing for the state of Wisconsin.
Third party intervener in that matter appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value in return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for the discharge.
That's right. He makes his exemption available for the discharge. This is that nonsense that people are teaching that you could do in court, and he's following it to the T. He's following it. I've heard this line of reasoning so many times, and it makes me sick to see it done in it. First one, I didn't like it when it was done in just traffic tickets, child support, and those types of cases. But this right here, imagine if you were one of the family sitting in the audience hearing this guy talk like this. A lot of them probably don't know what he's talking about. But if I was a family member, and I think there was also a little girl that lost her life in this too. If I was a family member sitting behind this guy and he's talking like this, I don't dispute the facts, but I make available my exemption, discharge the instruments and make my exemption available, blah, blah, blah. Well, you just, they're like anybody, with the layman's mind, well, he just disputed. Why are we going on with this trial? Why are we doing this? It would make me sick to my stomach to see this type of behavior. And if you ever noticed, when I was mainly on Blog Talk, there used to be guys like him that used to come on who were just straight crooks, trying to use this information to get over. And I would shut him down. I remember there was a guy who used to get on all the time. He talked just like this. You got to do this. There's a couple of clips. I'm gonna have to make more than one video because this video is enough just to talk about it. I got like 8 different screens and got places marked. If I can get to all of them right now, I don't want to make this too long. And he used to get on and talk about bill of particulars, and he talks about this in one of the days he was on trial. Bill of particulars. No one has told me about subject matter jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction. I need to know that. Well, court does have to show how they have jurisdiction. Yes, because they need jurisdiction to move. But, and I'm the parent of this child that I lost because this guy decided to drive through a parade and run people over without stopping. The evidence is irrefutable when you look at it. He did this, and he basically said that in this recording. He said he doesn't dispute the facts. He doesn't dispute the facts. Now that I don't dispute the fact, use my secret sophisticated trust account and y'all pay that off, and then I could go on and live my life after I took all these people's lives. And this is the logic this idiot is using. You just killed you. Where's your sense of responsibility to the fact that you took lives? Where's that accountability? And it's brothers like this that make all of us look bad. He has no sense of accountability to any of his actions here. And they'll label them as a sovereign citizen. So I've already told you guys, y'all go into courts looking like you're sovereign citizens. Y'all going to get treated with hostility. Because even in this trial, they said these guys are domestic terrorists. Now you have one that they consider a domestic terrorist who has taken lives. That just elevated everything. That just made it worse for all of you people to think you can do secure party creditor. I could do a 1099-A and discharge my debt. I could do all these crazy things and not follow the rules that's laid out for you to be able to do things properly. Y'all in for a rude awakening, because this case is being watched around the country, if not around the world. And they're preparing offensive, defensive. They're preparing against all you so-called sovereign citizens or acting in this manner. Oh, trust me. Y'all going to court with this stuff now, especially with this guy doing this. Y'all gonna get slammed. You know, and the rules are different when they think you are a terrorist. Well, let's continue.
All obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments and make a reservation of all my rights here this morning. All rights reserved.
All right, good morning to you as well. The record to reflect the individual known to this court as Darrell Brooks is present in person in custody. However, he is wearing street clothes, a suit and tie, and a...
She said, whoever he is, he's wearing this. You can say whatever you want, but we still going to convict your ass in this court today. Okay? You can call yourself whatever in that courtroom, but we still going to lock you up. We got you in jail. And you got to understand the Constitution protects victims. Now, his argument is, well, the state of Wisconsin versus him, who I need to be able to question that entity. Right? Now, you do have a right to face your accuser, but who, okay. If you take someone's life, who is going to come in? Okay, you get a claim against somebody, that's monetary, civil thing. Like me, if someone took the life of one of my family members, the only people I can rely on to go after this guy is the law enforcement. I can go after him. Yeah, that's called street justice. Then I have to face consequences for that action, right? But they have these laws in place to protect people from being harmed, right? So he's questioning, well, Wisconsin versus him. I didn't harm Wisconsin. We're the people that I actually harmed. Why aren't they named as the plaintiff in the case? Why haven't they? And that's what he's been arguing. But okay, they can name themselves as the plaintiff, and they can name all the victims as the plaintiff. They're acting on behalf of the victims. They're coming in, and we're going to lock you up. We're going to take you off the street. And some people, well, do we really need jails? Yes, for people like that. Yes, we do. We do need jails for people, because people like him who don't regard human life as sacred, because obviously he don't. The way I've watched hours of this trial, just watched, trying to figure out what I was going to use to show you guys this nonsense, this accepted for value, discharge, and all this is stupid. It's nonsense. Somebody put Elliot up the blind leading the blind. He said, now people being lied to again in different ways. Beware what money you're paying people for love. Yes, right. The blind is leading, but they just telling people anything they want to hear to get their money. And what's crazy is the people are paying these people money to follow these techniques. And now he's probably listening to this stuff in jail. And at some point, he was reading a Bible. I don't know where he was going to go with that, but let's keep going.
Mask.
For the record, I don't consent to being called that name.
Now he's saying, for the record, he don't consent to be called that name. They don't care.
It is noted. All right, Mr.
She
Brooks,
just noted it.
Preliminarily, do you anticipate calling any additional witnesses today?
For the record, I don't consent to being called that name. And what was the question?
Do you anticipate calling?
See, he's not very smart. He don't consent to being called that name, but why is he answering questions? How can you challenge jurisdiction and then participate and answer questions? And like he was interrogating witnesses, cross-examining witnesses. He was doing all kinds. He's totally involved in this case. So you don't consent, but you're consenting and you're answering questions and moving forward. So you consent. See, people don't understand what you can verbally say you don't consent, but this is what you call implied consent by your actions. What you're doing, your behavior.
Any witnesses today?
We go.
I don't believe today.
Well, we are here for the continuation.
See, he's consenting. He's answering questions. And you know, these people are looking at him like, this guy is actually, you know, they can't say it in front of on a live mic. This guy is actually a fool. You say you don't consent, but you're doing everything. Cross-examining witnesses and things like that.
That's on your list that you added is your mother, Dawn Woods. So I would expect that if she's going to testify, she would be here. Otherwise, I will be going through the colloquy with you as to whether you intend to testify today or not.
Did you receive my ICS that I addressed to you?
Oh,
ICS.
Let me look.
Actually, I just went to you and then went to the prosecution.
I gotta give it to this judge. She's been very nice throughout all of this nonsense. He's been She's been polite the whole time.
You know when you sent those?
Saturday.
I want to know what he's talking about, this ICS thing.
So that would have been the 22nd.
State receive anything through?
Somebody asked, why did he fire his attorney? Because he wants to represent himself, because in the movement of when you represent yourself, you are viewed as a U.S. citizen. He doesn't want to have that viewpoint. He wants to be separated from this, what they call the straw man, a.k.a. the real legal term is ins ligas and legas. So that's why he fired his attorney. And that's why he said everything at the outset the way he did. Let me keep playing.
Like the interoffice communication?
We have not. I just checked this morning to see if there's anything new. Nothing has been received at my office.
What's the ICS?
And I should say the clerical that was assisting me went to the mailroom to double check. So not only has it not made its way to the DA's office, it hasn't even made its way over to the mailroom.
I can email the jail administrator to find out if there's anything in transit, if there's no objection from the parties, from the state?
No objection.
From you, sir?
No objection. I
He's
definitely want
consenting.
those.
You
documents
consent.
reviewed that obtain important information.
You said you forwarded them to a staff member on Saturday?
If you don't consent to something, that means you don't perform anything. You don't answer questions. You don't do nothing. That's what no consent means. You don't even participate. So all the stuff he's trying, which I already know doesn't work. But the benefit of the doubt, if it did, or if you was trying to get to work, when you say you don't consent, you don't do anything. You don't open your mouth. You don't answer questions. You don't acknowledge anything, period. But he don't understand that.
Yes.
Do you know if that was morning, afternoon, or some other time?
Maybe in afternoon.
And those are two ICF forms?
Yeah, one addressed to you directly and one addressed to the district attorney's office.
If this might get to the part where I want to get to these other videos. I want to know what that is. She typing, y'all. I can't type that fast.
I'm sending that. I will send it with high importance and we'll see what response I get. But I don't have anything.
You have to give it to Joe. She's taking her time. She's going through.
The topic is pertaining to exculpatory evidence. Some things were learned, and once they came to my attention, I felt the need to immediately address the court about this information.
What information make enough of proof for me, sir?
The expert witness for the prosecution in regards to, I believe it was inspecting the vehicle. Officer Ryan Schultz. Question was asked of, did he know if there were any recalls on that vehicle? And I believe that a Brady claim should be visited because there were, in fact, recalls on that vehicle. In fact, there were recalls on the Ford Escape models from 2008 through 2010 in regards to the throttle body malfunctioning and causing the vehicles to accelerate and not being able to be stopped. There is a class
trying to say that
where
the vehicle
Ford
wouldn't
company
stop.
were
That's his
sued because of this.
part of
and
his
those
argument.
vehicles, models from
Outside
year
the other
2008
stuff.
through 2010 were recalled. And that is very important information in regards to the vehicle in question being a Ford Escape 2010. This information is very easily obtained just by pulling it up, and you will see a class action lawsuit. Obviously, if it's a class action lawsuit, then it's pretty easy to.
So what's your request, sir?
My request is to find out if Officer Schultz knew, to find out if the prosecution knew that there was a recall on those vehicles. And
I would think more importantly, if you're trying to claim that he couldn't stop the vehicle,
the fact that these vehicles were recalled,
why don't you get that information
because
and
of this
present that?
malfunctioning throttle body for I believe that's not a fact. counts 1 through 73 to be dismissed.
All right, what's the response from the state defendant?
Thank you, Your Honor. As Trooper Schultz testified during his examination, consistent with our research, there are no active recalls listed for the Ford Escape. As Trooper Inspector Schultz noted during his testimony, that Ford listed an extended warranty for the throttle body on the Escape. The warranty was extended to 10 years of age and 150,000 miles. The Escape is more than 10 years old and has more than 150,000 miles. Also, he noted specifically in his report that he did not note any defect in the throttle body as previously described in this report. There was no recall in the throttle body. NHTSA did do an investigation into allegedly defective Ford throttle bodies, which would have impacted this year. Basically, the electronic throttle body failures would have resulted in engine stall or surge while entering traffic from a stop position or while driving at highway speeds, neither of which I believe occurred here. Further, Inspector Schultz would testify that that does not prevent the brake from working. So if this had been activated on this car, which it was not.
See, we got people asking questions that boggle my mind. This one here. So if the court's already going to do what they do, why the show? What do you mean by this is a show? People died here. What the hell are you talking about? People died here. A car hit some people. A vehicle hit some people. Killed some people. So it needs to go to court and be so that people can get closure for their loved ones. What are you talking about? This is not a traffic ticket. This is not child support. This is not a civil case. Someone was harmed in this. People lost their lives. And this is what I'm talking about. People taking these dumb tactics too far. People lost their lives. So what are you talking about? If someone killed your family with their car, you would want the state to do exactly what they're doing right now for them. Go after these people and lock them up. Or we can resort to the old tactics of street justice. We just, okay, kill my people, I go kill them. You could do that, but that's not going to get you far because you're going to have to pay for that. So what are you talking about? Why the show? This is not a show. This is real. People died. Like, that's a crazy question to even ask. That's law. You're not even be empathizing with the people who's sitting behind and watching this go on. I'm showing this video to get y'all to wake the hell up. These tactics don't work, never work. You get in trouble, and a lot of people are still teaching that stuff. That's why I tell you, in the description of this video, if you really want to represent yourself and you really want to learn how the courtrooms operate, there is a course called Win Without a Lawyer. And this is an actual lawyer training you on what to do. For those of you who don't want to hire lawyers, it's a lawyer. It's his software legally sanctioned. He's teaching you what to do in court, the rules of court, and he doesn't promote any of these dumb tactics that this brother is using. Let's finish. I'm going to finish hearing this, and then we're going to move on.
If it had been, and this defendant would have pushed down on the brake, it would have stopped the car. Further, if this was a problem, there would have been the malfunction indicator lamp or the wrench light would have been illuminated, as Trooper Schultz or Inspector Schultz testified when he started the vehicle and checked the indicator lights. None of them were lit. Further, if there was this, he would have observed material buildup on the commutator. There was no such buildup observed. There were no problems.
See, they got their stuff together. They know how to explain. See, this is what y'all going up against when y'all try to go up against these DAs. People who are practiced and trained at talking in the courtroom.
Although there may have been some cars who had this problem, The car that the defendant was driving on this day did not have that problem. That was testified during the vehicle inspection. The defendant had the opportunity to cross-examine Inspector Schultz with regard to that. And again, in running the defendant's mom's VIN number through NHTSA, National Highway.
They did checks to make sure that vehicle was working properly.
Administration.
We'll stop here.
For this particular.
I'm sure there's more information to talk about with that video. So Vicious People said, how is it I'm not feeling for people that lost their lives? Well, because your question indicates that. Why the show? You're indicating that the trial was a show where people lost their lives. If you said that about a traffic ticket, I would be okay. Something else? Yes, I would be okay with that. But when you're talking about a trial where people actually lost their life, be careful the words you use. Saying why the show indicates that you're not being empathetic to the people that got harmed in this case. All right? Be careful. Let me see which one I want to use. See. All right, let's do this one. I got a lot of videos up, y'all. All right, let's go to at what point? 6:40. Hope this is the right one. I'll share the screen in a minute, y'all. Hang on. And by the way, this guy got an extensive record. Um, 609. Okay, 640. This ain't the right one. Okay. All right. This is the video. Let me pause that. Let me stop the screen. Share. Let me all right. Here we go.
You made reference to this vehicle driving into you, but stated you were not injured. Did you file a claim in this matter?
No, I did not.
Do you consider yourself an injured party in this matter?
No, I do not.
This is where he's asking you, the injured party technique.
Do you yourself know if anyone filed a claim in this matter?
Can you be more specific?
Do you yourself know if anyone filed a claim in this matter?
Just in general?
Whatever your interpretation of that would be.
I would say yes.
And do you know what that claim was?
I would imagine that there was a lot of injuries from the people. A lot of people had very extensive medical bills. And I imagine that they would file a claim with their insurance company to have those bills paid.
So you had knowledge of what was filed to their particular insurance companies?
I have no knowledge, but my assumption is that they would have filed those bills.
So it would be fair to say,
See, now, if a seasoned lawyer would have said to him all of the stuff that he was speculating on, have that stricken from the record. and just speak to facts that he know. See, he doesn't know that. So he doesn't know how to operate in the courtroom. So he's allowing this guy to give an opinion on what he think they would do. I mean, court is dealing with facts. They want facts, but let's keep going.
Don't know for sure.
That was my testimony.
Is that the answer?
Yes.
You can tell he has some jailhouse lessons. These are jailhouse lessons. And let's see. Let's skip over to 14.
Be fair to assume that you know who the plaintiff is in this matter.
Here we
Yes,
go.
I do.
And who would the plaintiff be in this matter?
The state of Wisconsin.
Is that an entity or a living human being?
It's an entity.
How can an entity file a claim?
Objection.
Ground.
See, that's the cop. Now he's asking a question of the cop. How can an entity file a claim? If you listen, he's asking the wrong person that question. That's not the job of the cop to answer that. That's the job. That's something he should have taken up behind closed doors with the judge or whoever's bringing this, or the DA. Say, well, you guys are coming against me as if I did something to you. We're the people that actually was injured. Why aren't they a party to this case? Now, if that's the route he wants to take, that's the way you attack it. You know, asking a cop, well, how can an entity file a claim against me or come against me that I haven't harmed? So how do you asking him that's outside of his expertise. His job is just to enforce the law that they want him to enforce. That's all his job is. That's his level of expertise. All of this other stuff, who can file a claim and this and that, and rest assured they have heard this before. But I'm going to rewind it just a little bit.
The state of Wisconsin.
Is that an entity or a living human being?
It's an entity.
How can an entity file a claim?
Objection.
Grounds.
Legal conclusion.
Grounds.
Sustained.
And that was a good objection on the DA part. They said objection. They're asking him to come up with a legal conclusion. That's what he asked him, to come up with a legal conclusion. You see, that wasn't that, and it should have been sustained.
You are aware that only a living, breathing human being can actually file a claim. An entity cannot walk into anywhere and file a claim if it's not even a real person.
Objection.
You are
Move to
aware of
strike.
that, right?
Go ahead, Attorney Upper.
Move to strike the statements by Mr. Brooks. Also object to the question that was asked at the end as irrelevant, argumentative, and calling for a legal conclusion.
Objection is not.
She's right. She is right. That battle should not be taking place with a witness, especially not with a cop. Now, at some point, he has called the state of Wisconsin to the stand. He did do that, and the judge bypassed that and overlooked that. Now, is that? I mean, you can make an argument for that. Well, you got this guy coming against me who I have nothing to do with. I didn't do this to these people. We're the people. You that is a valid question that needs to be answered, because when you look at everything, it's always the state versus you. Traffic tickets, even in a lot of child support cases. I mean, you don't have children with the state, but technically you do. When you fill out that birth certificate, when you get them a social security card, and then when you get a marriage license and you do all that and have children through that arrangement, technically those children become part of the state. The state becomes a party in that contract, that matrimonial contract. So that's how they come in with that. This is why people with different religious faiths, they don't go get birth certificates. They don't go get social security cards. They don't connect anything with the state into their marriage arrangements, into their children's lives. They don't do anything like that. See, we're suffering because we do we make a lot of connections because, oh, they said this is what I need to do. And now we're in it. And then when they're trying to enforce their contracts that you created by signing under penalty of perjury, now you're here with this. Now, let me rewind it back to the beginning. He said he didn't consent, but here he is questioning witnesses. Here it is. You cannot consent and then participate at the same time. Your participation is the consent. And if he takes this to the Court of Appeals, they're going to say that, yeah, well, you said you consent, but yeah, you was asking questions of the witnesses. You were trying to prove the case. He's all over the place. He's trying to insinuate that the brakes didn't work. The car would not stop through the throttle body. Then he's saying that, well, the state of unconscious is not a living, breathing entity, and how can it bring a claim? And he's also trying to accept for value. He's not disputing facts. He's all over the place. I just showed you 3 different things, how he's saying 3 different things that contradict his whole method. And this is what happens when you're listening to people in jail who think they're a lawyer, who think they know the law. You're listening to people on the internet. You're watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. I know I do YouTube too, but I've showed you cases where I went in and won. But you know why? Because I learned from a lawyer how to fight my cases. That's why this person who's Fire Reverse put up there, he who represents himself has a fool for a client. No, he who represents himself, who has not studied the rules in the law, has a fool for a client. That's what should be said. Because plenty of people are representing themselves and winning. I got a girl, she just won $3,000 off a debt collector. She took him to court, sued them, and they settled him with her for $3,000. She went for 10, they settled for 3. Off a debt that wasn't even $1,100. They were trying to collect $1,100 and she won $3,000. Why did she win the $3,000? Because she went and took that course that I've told you guys to take. Learn how to properly submit evidence, how to properly depose witnesses, how to properly subpoena, how to properly file your complaints. Now, in this case, this is a murder case. He killed people. I know he hasn't been convicted through their system, but he said he's not disputing the fact. So I'm using his words to say he did this. I'm not coming up with my own theory. He said it, and he even insinuated that the brakes wasn't working. Here's a couple. If you watch the videos, if you accidentally killed people by accident, why did you leave the scene? Why did you run? Why did you take refuge in someone's house to get away from it? Come on, man. And plus, he has a history of violence throughout his life. A history. Now he's trying to play victim at the expense of someone else's life. And he's using these dumbass tactics to try to do it. And looking like a complete idiot and a fool. So let's see. I think I got All right. Okay, let's keep playing this one.
For legal conclusion in any
The
way.
court sustains the objection. The request to strike the statements made by Mr. Brooks are granted, or the request is granted. The jury will disregard the statement and the question asked for all of the reasons
They're
indicated
making
by
sure
the
they
statement.
strike that
Also is in the
that
statement of
question
law.
about the entity filing a claim. They went after that. You see that, right? So that right there would indicate that there's something to that. If they had that stricken from the record, made sure it was stricken, so that means that it holds some kind of weight. Because if it didn't, they wouldn't have went after that part. And when I do my class tonight, I'm gonna go. There's some things I want to say, but I'm not gonna do it on YouTube. But in the private class, I'm gonna break this, show y'all how he's moving. He's gonna always lose. But I'll break down that. The entity part is a good question. Okay, state of something is coming after me, but that's not. I didn't do anything to the state of Wisconsin. I did something to these people. They should be made a party to this cause. They need to be in there. It's a term called failure to include an indispensable party. So, well, something like that.
I definitely object to that, Your Honor.
Your objection is noted. I'm going to have the jury stand for a second. They've been sitting for quite some time, and then you can formulate your next question.
I'll take exception to that ruling.
He's taking exception.
And would like the legal finding the fact.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
And that's the judicial determination.
He's asking, is that a judicial determination?
I think you seated.
She didn't answer.
Go ahead, Mr. Brooks. Please continue with your question.
Have you ever had any interactions with this entity, state of Wisconsin?
Go.
Mr. Brooks, under 90611, you're not going to allow the witness to answer. It's vague.
There was no objection.
Under 90611, I shall exercise reasonable control over the mode and order of interrogating witnesses. Please, next topic. These questions we addressed during the initial cross-examination of this witness.
They're gonna keep coming up.
And I determined at that time that they weren't relevant. So next topic,
They're gonna
please.
keep coming up.
Under 90611, sir, please move on to a new topic
They're gonna keep coming up.
for the cross-examination.
I will add this in. You do have, when you're facing any type of action, you do have a right to question the accuser who's accusing you. You do have a right to that. So basically, that part there's a point there to be made there. How do you question the state of Wisconsin when they're just an entity? How do you're accusing me, you're the person, you're the party, you're the only party. How do I question you? How do I challenge that? Is that fair? Is that due process? Those are questions. Well, I'll dig into that deeper in the class tonight. But at the same time, someone was physically harmed. Someone physically lost their life. So the Constitution protects the rights of those people. See, all of this is well and good, but as soon as you do any of this and you actually hurt someone, take someone's life, something has to be done. So there's that line, like, okay, people actually got hurt. So how do you go after the person? How do the family get closure? They do it through the state. How come they do it through the state? Because all of those people are consenting, and they're filed. Well, the state brought the charges against him, but what should have happened? Every one of those victims should have signed a criminal complaint against him. Period. They should sign I'm not sure if that happened or not. They should have filed a criminal complaint, not just coming in as witnesses, but coming in as, hey, I want to complain against, this is what he has done to me or done to someone, my child or someone I'm close to. It's just like, okay, if someone harms me, I go to and I sign a complaint. Hey, they did this to me. Then they go and get this person. So and a lot of those people came in and was witnesses in the case. These are what you call first-hand knowledge witnesses, people who were there.
And I will,
Do you see the state of Wisconsin president in the courtroom today?
Objection, argumentative,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
sustained. Final warning, sir. Next topic or the cross-examination, I will
You
bring it to
don't
an
gotta
end.
keep doing that, Your Honor. You don't gotta keep doing that.
It's my responsibility, sir, over this trial.
I'm informed. And
Thank you.
And I
Next
respect
topic.
that. But it's relevant for the jury to know the truth. They deserve to know the truth.
Move to strike, Your Honor.
Granted, the jury will disregard those last statements. They're not relevant.
He says
Brooks
she
is not
asked me to
testifying.
strike. It
They
must
mistake
be
the law.
powerful enough
I
for her
object to that.
to
That's
say
not
that.
lawful law. It's
Noted.
truthful.
All right, under 90611, I am now stopping the cross-examination. Any redirect by the state?
Objection to that. And I would like to
I mean, when he's making a point, they always object. That point he made is that state of Wisconsin in the room. Where are they? So they object. It's just let's say it's irrelevant. I would like to know, why is it irrelevant? That's a question I would want to know. Why is that irrelevant? Since they are, the name on that says that state is coming after him. Why is that irrelevant? That's the question I would be asking. Well, can you explain why it's irrelevant? Period. All right, it's 11:41. I got consultations to do. I just want to give y'all a little bit. It's hours. Look. I got a bunch of notes here. I could go on and on with this guy and with this nonsense that he got going on. But I'll stop right here and save it for another time, maybe tomorrow. But thanks for joining. Let me get through these comments. Oh, some vicious people said it's still commercial in nature. Whether it's commercial, not commercial, whatever you want to call it. People lost their lives and they want justice. Period. They want him to go to jail. And that's what's going to happen, most likely. 99.9% of the time, he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail somewhere. All right? With that being said, thanks for tuning in and look forward to my next live stream. I definitely will have one tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Same channel. Make sure you like and subscribe for more good commentary, more good information. Listen, I'm not going to give y'all information and steer y'all down these dark trails of extra problems. You know how many people have lost their house, lost their freedom following these types of tactics? When some of these things couldn't happen if they just knew the rules of the court. Period. Even though he is accused of these crimes, he still has a right to due process. Period. And back to that question, he does have a right to know. You're saying you're the one bringing this complaint. That is a valid question. I will tell you that. So, that being said, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all.